Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn. I do videos on astrology and Feng Shui, and today we are talking about astrology. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button if you like videos like this, because it really helps out the channel. And if you don't know me, again, welcome to the channel. I am a professional astrologer. I've been doing astrology for a long time. I've written 16 books. I write a weekly sun signs column on sunsigns.com. I also write for horoscope.com and astrology.com. And in the description box below, there is a link to a PDF if you need a copy of your chart, which does include my email, where you can just send me your information and I will send you a copy of your chart. Okay, let's get started. Okay, Pisces natives, you guys are doing this eclipse in your fifth house. Fifth house is about self-confidence, creativity. It's about children, fertility, and of course, affairs of the heart. And so you have all of this energy being disrupted right now. Oh my gosh. Now, what that means is that maybe you are not being your confident self. Maybe you are stepping back and allowing others to take the lead when it should be you. And this is not necessarily in external things, but in your own life. If you are taking too passive a route, this eclipse is here to shut that door and open the door for you to be in charge. Now, this also does say that you should be pursuing your creative interests, the things that really drive you, that ability to express. And it is a zero eclipse, so you may say, I have no idea what it is I want to do creatively. Or you might say, I know what I want to do creatively, I don't know how to do it. And so either of those, you just want to start dabbling. You want to start playing with things. The fifth house is about play and experimentation. And so think of yourself as a child, like with a box of paints or with a little plastic ukulele. Just start making some sounds, start putting some color on paper, and allow the universe then to speak to you. You know, there's this thing about calling a muse. I don't know if you're familiar with that expression, but it's an old idea where you call in an actual spirit to help you with creativity. And so it's called calling your muse. And when you do that, what happens is you get inspired, and that inspiration comes from your higher self, comes from the universe, comes from that muse. And so that can really help you. Now, this eclipse energy is doing that in conjunct to the Saturn at 0 degrees of Aquarius in your 12th house. And that is saying, oh my gosh, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm going to be judged. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. I'm afraid. And so this is your ability to break free of that fear, to recognize that those fears are just smoke. They're nothing. The fear of somebody saying something, of looking at you with disdain, it's not actually going to physically hurt you. And so you can show your art to the world. You can do your creative expression. You can say, I am going to be in charge of my life. And if other people say, oh, you shouldn't, you can walk on by them, because honestly, this is a big world. There's lots of people in it, and there are people who are going to love and support what you're doing. So this Saturn, which is currently in Aquarius in your 12th house, is going to back up into Capricorn for a little while, and next year it's going to be back, and it's going to be going through your 12th house for 2.5 years. And during that 2.5 years, you are going to obliterate fear. Everything you are afraid of, you are going to say, no more. It is just smoke. It is nothing. You can walk right through it and it will disappear. And so right now, this first little hint of this is the inconjunct, which says, what is my comfort zone? So define your comfort zone and then expand it, and do whatever you can to do things that are just outside your comfort zone, because that causes your zone to grow. If you don't grow your comfort zone, what happens is it shrinks, and it shrinks until it strangles you. You do not want that. You want to have a life where you have the incredible joy of being able to express who you really are. That's the purpose of being in a body. So that's what you're doing. Now, that expression does come through children also, or even pets, because this is your fifth house. That is a house of fertility and children, and I include pets there. And so this could be that you're helping your kids with their schoolwork now because they're homeschooling. Maybe it is that you're training your pets and you're loving on your pets. All of that is good. This is a possibility that there is going to be an addition to your life over the next 6 months. That could happen, or the announcement of a pregnancy in that time period. So look at that. And of course, that would trigger that in conjunct to Saturn, which would trigger a whole bunch of activities that you have to do to get ready for that. Now, when we look at your North Node, South Node, what you're doing is you're doing North Node in the 4th house and the South Node up in the 10th house. So what it says is your life path tells you to grow in the area of home and family. And that is, you need to be creating home where you are. You may have grown up in a wonderful family, and that's great, but now you have left home. Or you grew up in a family that wasn't so loving, and that means it's time for you to reinvent that part of your life where you can create home and family, where it is just loving and warm and safe where you are now. And even if you live alone, you can still do this by creating a wonderful, peaceful environment, maybe using Feng Shui, which is about creating an environment that supports your goals, or maybe you beautify the neighborhood by planting things and making flowers happen and keeping it tidy. Or, of course, if you live with people, of learning how to express family issues in loving and supportive terms, so that all of this becomes a truly wonderful environment. Why is this all up to you? Well, that's because of that square to Mars in Pisces in your own sign. It says that you're the one to initiate this. You're the one to build the loving home. Now, everybody else may have been cooped up for months now and really just at each other's throat. It's up to you to create this peaceful environment, maybe through meditation or chanting or music or things like that. Maybe just sitting down with everybody and allowing them to express their feelings, but that you express loving feelings to them, and see if you can get everybody to now merge together in this loving fashion. And I know that's a lot of responsibility, but this is currently your life path, and that's going to be lasting for 18 months. So this isn't something that you need to do right away. This is something that will unfold. But right now, while it's at this critical degree of 29, it's a great time to start. Now, Venus is retrograde in your 4th house. Mercury is retrograde in the 5th house. That Venus retrograde in the 4th house is a little bit of a warning that says that if you're thinking about redecorating right now or buying some big item like a sofa or rug or repainting your room, you may not be happy with the results. You want to just cool your heels on that and wait a little bit longer until Venus goes direct. And that date will either be on the screen somewhere, or I'll put it in the description box below. Now, the Mercury retrograde is extra interesting because it's in a house of romance, and it actually rules your house of relationships. And so it says when it comes to relationships, one, you could rekindle something with somebody from your past. That could be very interesting. Or if you're meeting someone new, they may remind you in some way of someone you used to date. Maybe they have the same name or same sort of look about them, or some sort of similar mannerism. But there's something where you're repeating, where you're going back and looking at something again. Now, if you are already in a love relationship, this Mercury retrograde does mean you could revisit some way of doing romance together that made you happy, that you somehow got out of the habit of, and now you can bring that back in. When we look at your career, it's ruled by that Jupiter, which is now conjunct Pluto for the 2nd time. So it was conjunct in April, and next it'll be conjunct in November, and right now it's conjunct. And this is a big deal because Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, and Pluto is the most powerful. So we have put this transformative power of Pluto with this expansive power of Jupiter, which means that your whole career is on the verge of changing. And when I say the verge, this is slow-moving planet, so this could still take another year. but you should be planting the seeds for something else that you want to do. And that might be that over this period of time, you start to go back to school. Now you have to go through all of the school, and maybe if you're going to be a doctor, you have to go through residency. So it could be like a decade, but still, this is the time to plant the seeds. And what it does say also, though, you could have an idea any day that could be life-changing. And so, be ready with your journal to write things down. Shut off all this external noise and all that so that you can meditate, so you can hear your higher self, so you can hear the universe. This conjunction also says that you can meet very important people, powerful people, by reaching out through organizations or by just reaching out and contacting people that you admire. If you find somebody who's absolutely fascinating, who's doing something that you really admire, tell them that and see if you can get a conversation going. Now, this also says if you're looking for a new job, you can definitely get one. Try not to feel overwhelmed by this powerful energy. Instead, go for a job that's a little bit above what you're thinking you can handle, because you can handle it and because doors will open. It's the same thing if you're applying at school. You can go for a school that's a little bit more than you were expecting because there are going to be doors opening for you because you're in such a powerful place. Now, when we take a look at your money is pulling from your Mars and Pisces in the first house. That means that things that you're materially involved in definitely can bring you money. So that is that when your name is on the project or when you're leading the project, that's when the money really starts to flow. It also says that doing something on your own, your own podcast or some other creative endeavor that has your name on it can do very well. Now, again, you're planting the seeds right now, but this says that you are pulling money in, and with that Pisces energy that you have, if you add in the spiritual component, you can compound what you make. So that would be do prayer, meditation, light candles, do the spiritual things to set the vibration so that when you're vibrating the same as the abundance, that it's easier for you to spot the opportunities and bring them in. When we take a look at your money from other people, resources, when we look at investment money, royalties, residuals, and money from partnerships, it's all ruled by that Venus retrograde in the 4th house. That does mean if you've done real estate in the past or anything regarding people's homes, you could be making money that way again. That could be interior design, renovations, construction, appraisals, and things like that. So all of those things are good. Otherwise, we do see some delay in making some profits because everything else would be interrupted by that Venus retrograde. So you just have to cool your heels and wait. Now, the one caveat I would do to that is if you have specific investments and a few months ago you were thinking, oh, I should get out of this investment, and now you're feeling that again, that's the retrograde bringing you back to where you were to re-examine it. So you really need to give that a look. You might have to contact some people to get more information, but you really need to look and see if now is the time to either divest yourself of an investment or get into an investment. When we look at your money that's derived from career, besides that Pluto-Jupiter, which we already talked about, it is pulling money from that Saturn in Aquarius in your 12th house at 0 degrees, making the inconjunct to the eclipse. As you can tell with all of that long sentence I just said, that means there are still some interruptions and that it's more likely that money is going to come from a new source. And so you might be getting a new job. You may find that if you are going back to an old job, it's not as stable as you hope. Maybe they have to close again. Maybe they just don't have very much, especially if you're on commission or something like that. It does seem rather weak. And this is all your reminder to, one, put your name on things, to really stand up and say, I'm going to take the initiative here because that directly brings money to you. But it also reminds you that it's not great to have just one source of income and support, to look for additional ways to support you. And that is, think of how many different ways people can get money, how many different ways you can get money. Write out a list on that. This Saturn's in the 12th. Light a candle and do a meditation on that. Ask for help from the universe. You will be amazed how many things pop in, not just to your mind, but into your experience that will help you make money. When it comes to windfalls and taking chances, this is where your eclipse is. So you need to be super careful during this period. It is extremely volatile for you taking large risks. Taking a small risk like buying the occasional lottery ticket, or maybe, talking to your friend about their network marketing or something like that, those things are fine. But large investments are going to be extremely volatile, so you have to be careful. It could be a big win, yes, absolutely, but it could be a huge loss. So I cannot stress enough, be super, super careful. If you have not done this before, don't do it this time. If this is something you're extremely familiar with and you have really calculated things out, again, I would still say be careful. Eclipses are extremely unpredictable, and it's right in your house of risky investments, gambling, and speculation. And if you like all this talk about money in your chart, check out my program on Udemy called Finding the Hidden Money in Your Chart. I'm leaving a link in the description box below. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this video. I really appreciate it. Hit the like button if you like videos like this. It really helps out the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.